Hello, this is a very quick tutorial just to explain about creating new documents and sizes and changing sizes of images and resolutions. It's really something I suppose that you'd get used to if you're doing this quite a lot, but I'll just go through sort of setting up a document and what resolution choices you've got really to make sure that you're doing the right thing when you're creating new files, because lots of people don't think about the file size and the resolution of an image when you're creating it. Now, say that you had to create a document that was A4 sized, okay, let's just say that is the case, which it might be at some point, I guess. You've got to, first of all, start Fireworks up, create a new Fireworks document, which is up here on the right hand side of the welcome window, and then you get asked about the width and the height and the resolution. You've got to bear in mind that normally when you create these kind of things, you're aiming at a particular target size. I'm going to aim for A4. Now, an A4 piece of paper, if it's a portrait A4 piece of paper, is 210 millimeters wide, 297 millimeters high. How do I know? Because I looked it up on the internet, and that's the best place to find the answer to these kind of things, isn't it? Unless you've remembered it anyway. Now, I'm working on pixel width at the moment, which is no good. So I'm going to change that to centimeters, right? Now, it tells me it's now 17.64 centimeters wide, centimeters there as well. And I'm going to change that to 21.0, which is 210 mil, and then the height is 229.7, which is 297 millimeters, which is A4. Now, the resolution that I'm going to choose here is very dependent on what I want to do with the final image when I've finished with it. You've got to consider the quality of the image that you're producing. You've got to consider the file size, the target output device, whether it's for the screen or whether it's for a printer. 72 pixels per inch. I'm going to change it to centimeters. Well, I'll leave it in inches because it's nicer. 72 pixels per inch is about right for images to be shown on screen. Most monitors are about 72 pixels per inch, standard monitors anyway, which means that if I viewed this image on a monitor, it would look life size. Now, if I wasn't aiming for that, if I was aiming for a printer or I was aiming for a high quality image, I'd probably end up increasing that to about 300. 300 pixels per inch is about right for a quality printout. Some printers can manage much higher resolutions than that, but 300 is probably about right. You'll notice as I change that, I put it back to 72. You'll notice that this, if I set it 72 pixels per inch, it tells me that my document is 595 pixels wide by 842 pixels high. If I change that to 300, it changes to 2480 pixels wide by 3508 pixels high. This is telling me a couple of things. It's telling me, first of all, that my file size is going to be larger, and it's also telling me that the image is going to be more detailed because each pixel is represented by a smaller dot on my final image. And then I just click OK on that and I get an A4 piece of paper of this kind of pixel width here. You'll notice what's happening. The resolution's 12% on that, which is pretty zoomed out because I've set it at such a high resolution. So do be aware of that anyway in the case. Let me just show you how you change the resolution of an image. If I go to File and I'll just open, where's open there? And I'll open a document, a file, an image called cheese. Alright, that's why. And there's a picture of some cheese. Now, this is 608 by 384 pixels, so 608 wide, 344 pixels high. Did I say 384? Didn't mean that at all. Now, if I go to image size on here, I get an option to change the image sizes of my images. Now, you'll notice 608 pixels wide, 344 pixels high. At 300 pixels per inch, this is going to print out at 2 inches wide by just over an inch high. So that's tiny, a tiny little image. No good probably for what we want. So what I am going to try and do here, I'm going to change this and make that 72. You'll notice what happens. This changes the pixel dimensions of the image, but it keeps the print size the same. 9 times out of 10. If you've got an image, you may have scanned it in off a photograph, you may have scanned it in from any source, and the physical size of the image is what's important. What I'm doing by reducing the resolution of this is I'm making the pixels bigger, so there's less pixels in the image. Now you'll notice what happens if I drop this down to, say, something ridiculously small, like 26. You'll notice that the pixel dimension is microscopic now. But the actual image size is the same. If I click OK, it's going to zoom out massively. If I zoom into that control wheel, and you'll notice what's happened to my image, it'll still print the same size, but the image itself is pixelated because each pixel is bigger. I'll undo that, and you'll notice that the image is back to normal. If I want to change the print size, I literally change it here. So I want to make it, so change those to percentages, I want to make it 300% bigger. You'll notice that that particular resolution, I've literally increased the pixel dimensions of the image quite a lot. But I might want to drop that. I might not want it to be so detailed. I don't know. Probably would, to be honest, because I want to make sure that the picture is as detailed as it was before. Now, what it will do now, it will do something called a resample, because every pixel in the old image is now represented by 9 pixels in the new image, because I've increased it by 3-fold each direction, horizontal and vertical. So when I click OK, you notice the image gets massively bigger, still 100%. Zoomed out, but if I zoom out now, it looks identical, but it's going to print 3 times the size when it prints out. If you understand that, fab. If you don't know what to do about it, to be honest. But you can have a play with resolutions. You can try printing your pictures out. You can see how big they go. But I would just pay some attention to image size, resolution, pixel dimensions, and so on. Try having a mess with the values and see what you come up with. There you go. That's all I've got to say on this. Let's stop the video now.